Welcome to Indiana Sports Beat Radio, presented by Andy Moore Honda of Bloomington and Southern Stone Restaurant.
Looks over the middle, second guesses, fires, throws. Does he make the catch in the end zone? Yes! Touchdown! Oladipo to win it.
Another one!
He got
Another one! Another one!
Here's home. He's at the 30. He's going to go. 10, 5, touchdown. Jonathan Taylor.
Worked stop by Burke. Bounces into Cody. Puts it up. Scores!
Now, from the Golf Club at Eagle Point Studios, here's your host, Jim Coyle.
Well, hello, everybody. Welcome into a Monday. I hope we can get it off started as best as possible. I don't know how we can't do that with Don Fischer on board and Charlie Miller. Guys, how are you?
I'm doing well. Good to see you.
You too, Don. Charlie, how's it going, man?
Well,
another busy weekend for you, I'm sure. We'll get to that. Don Fischer with us, the voice of the Hoosiers, of course. Indiana coming off of I don't know how else to describe it, just a thorough beatdown by the Ohio State Buckeyes. And it was just hard. I cannot imagine how hard it was you to have to continue broadcasting that game, Don, as it gets tougher and tougher, because it's your job to try to keep spirits up. And it's so hard to do in a game like that when you just know they're just getting whipped in every fashion.
Yeah, that's I guess that's the one thing that really concerns you most is that what has held up throughout this season has been the Indiana defense that's held them in ball games, kept them, given them an opportunity to win. And then in this ball game, that didn't happen. The defense got clobbered just like the offense did. And I'm going to look at this game as an anomaly for the defensive side of the football, just because they haven't showed that side of things all year long. And the defense, like I said, has been stout, has been perfect, but they've played well and they've kept Indiana in games when there was really no other opportunity, because the offense hasn't done a daggone thing all season long. And I say that not because they haven't been able to score, but they haven't been able to score much. Yeah. And they make a lot of mistakes, and the offensive line, and I guess everybody's so sick of me saying this, but the offensive line just isn't getting it done. And they have been that way since the very beginning. We can't run the football with any kind of regularity, and we certainly can't throw the football as effectively as it should be, because the pressure on the quarterback is consistently good by everybody, and it hasn't mattered who we faced, with the exception of Idaho and Western Kentucky. So I don't know what the answers are. I'm not a coach. I don't do X's and O's. I'm really glad that I don't, even though I'd like to make their money, but I don't want to have any responsibility other than that.
Not the stress.
Yeah. So, and I know Tom Allen is searching frantically to find the answers to this football team, but I'm not sure there are any at this point. And I guess the light at the end of the tunnel, and it's not a train, we're hoping, but I think the light at the end of the tunnel is they're actually going to play some teams now in this last section of the season that are in their category. They're not superstar status ball clubs. They still have Michigan next week after Maryland, but after that, it's just teams like them. And hopefully that pays dividends. And somehow, some way, this week Indiana's got to find a way to beat Maryland, because it's a team that's struggling just like they are.
Yeah, Charlie, you probably had games where you got to flush that game, and that's exactly what Coach Tom Allen said in his post-game presser. We just got to flush this and move on.
Well, you also got to look at it, and Don, I think you said it best. Defense had the worst game they could have. But, I mean, can you really blame defense, because you're playing against a perennial top 15 team? And at the same time, you have a powerful drive. The first drive, you strike, then injury happens, right? So I'm not going to sit here and paint the picture of excuses, but, what happens if Jack is fresh? He doesn't get hurt. Because, again, you keep getting new looks at quarterback with people who are getting less than I can imagine first-string reps. And I think that throws off everything to me. I mean, a quarterback to me is like a coach on the field. But you're right. You have to flush it. you got to get ready for the next game, unfortunately. But I know it's probably hard. I mean, I can only imagine the coaching staff.
It seemed like Ohio State was starting in Indiana territory every time they got the ball. I mean, punting wasn't there. Every time I look up, I'm like, that's first and 10 at the 48 again. It's like, wow. So they didn't have to go very far, but it didn't. They could go as far as they wanted to. Unfortunately, they were able to really stretch out Indiana's defense.
Yeah, I mean, there was no section of Indiana's football team on Saturday that you could point to and say there's a real bright spot. I mean, the only bright spot was the very first drive offensively that Jack was able to take him down the field, and they scored a touchdown. 2 unbelievably good catches by Peyton Hendershot before he caught the touchdown pass. And then Tuttle goes down with the injury. He goes out. Hopefully, I mean, that's the one thing we're hoping today that we find out is that Jack Tuttle's injury was not serious and that he can recover and he can maybe be ready to play this coming week. Whether that'll happen or not, we don't know. But the truth of the matter is this football team has been searching all year for their offense, and they have not found it yet. And I'm not sure that they're going to find it because you've got to win the trenches. You have to win the trenches. We had no pass rush on Saturday on the defensive side. That's the trenches. Those are the guys that you've got to be able to get in there and put some pressure on a quarterback. Stroud, I don't know that I think he got maybe flushed out of the pocket twice during the ball game, and both times I think he got flushed out. He completed passes. So pressure on the quarterback from your defensive line and an offensive line who can open holes and pass block. Those things they're just fundamental things that you've got to be able to do, and we haven't seen this team do that from that perspective all year long.
You know, Don, you talk about C.J. Stroud. I was watching his quarterback rating for almost the entire game, and for at least 3/4 or more of it, he had over a 200 quarterback rating, which is crazy. I was like, is that thing going to drop? Because 150 is pretty daggone good, but he was over 200 for almost the entire game. And it wasn't he was making great throws. It was just making the throws. It seemed like there were a lot of wide open receivers for some reason. I know Indiana's down on defense too, and that probably hurt and allowed him to do that.
Well, one thing you have to know about Ohio State, they're 3 receivers, and their tight end would make it 4 in this game because he had 2 touchdown catches and 3 or 4 catches on top of that. Their receiving core is maybe the best in the country, and I wouldn't say even maybe. I think they are the best in the country. All 3 of the guys that start, Olave, Garrett Wilson, and Jackson Smith and Jigba, those 3 guys are all going to be in the NFL, or at least they're going to get drafted. They're going to play. They're going to get drafted, and they will play at some point to prove themselves at the NFL level. But those guys are all guys that can absolutely fly, and they run great routes. And, you know, they got quarterback who can get it in their hands. So, like I said, I do think that the defense just had a bad game. I think this defense will respond. I think they'll be playing better this coming week. And they're going to have to, because the offense still looks like it's really shaky, and it doesn't look like it's going to have any major improvement as this season progresses at this point. We've had a body of work now that you can basically point to that tells you what we're looking at. And Tom Allen's got a lot of work in his hands. There's no question about that. This coaching staff has got to get these guys ready to play again. And right now, that's what concerns me most, the mentality of your football team. They obviously have lost confidence. The expectations were so high at the beginning of the year. And now it's a mind game. It's a mental game. Bob Knight used to say 4:1, mental is to physical is 4:1. And he's absolutely right. And right now, this football team's in a funk mentally. And I don't know how you get them out of that unless you can provide some offense that will help this team try to bow up, so to speak.
Yeah, 128 total yards offense. I don't know how long it's been, Don, since I can't remember how far back I have to go that an Indiana offense was that unproductive. Even against Ohio State in all these games, they're usually competitive and And of course, the injuries play into this, but you've got to be prepared for that. And 128 yards, man, there's some probably non-conference teams that did better than that against Ohio State.
Well, here's the thing. If Jack Tuttle can't go, now you got Donovan McCulley, who's a true freshman. My phone's ringing. Don't let that bother you.
Yeah, well, we're good.
Donovan McCulley is a true freshman. He
Maybe
really,
the next quarterback.
Well, he really struggled badly in this first half. You know, he looked like he was a fish out of water in the first half. But I will give him credit. He came back in the second half. He looked like he was more comfortable. He had calmed down a little bit. He was going up against one of the best teams in the country, as you know. And I thought he just did a much better job. But they didn't line the packages they worked for him to play in this ball game, even if Jack Tuttle hadn't gotten hurt. They were all running plays, for heaven's sakes. This kid's got to be able to throw the football, and he's got to get that opportunity to throw the football. And I think he's very capable of doing that. So I put this on coaches. I think the coaches did not have him ready to go like they should have. And that's got to change. And I will bet money that we'll hear Nick Sheridan today say it was my fault that he wasn't ready to go, that kind of thing, because he tries to take the blame no matter what, because he did that when Michael Penix was struggling, you know. And so we're going to hear that again today. The question is, all right, fix it. Fix it in some fashion. You're going to have to fix it. So, again, I think mentally right now is the biggest question mark in this football team. Have they given up the ship? And if they haven't given up the ship, then they got to prove that and they're going to have to prove it to themselves by coming up with a victory. And I think Maryland is the team that they can do that against, because I think Maryland is having the same kinds of problems that Indiana is right now.
Yeah, what you're hoping, if I can say this real quick, guys, what you're hoping is the experience. Let's on the positive side, the experience of all these games you've had, you've got your butt kicked, handed to. You hope this has expanded the players and coaches' thought process going into this game, where you can now, those last week's experiences of playing all these top teams, let's go lay it out and put it all out against Maryland. And I think, Don, the game plan changed once Jack Tuttle got hurt. I mean, sure. I think the game plan changed where we got to save face. Okay, he starts seeing looks he's never seen before. Now he's throwing out interceptions. Now it's even worse, right? So I'd rather take this beat down as a coach. Let me go to the presser and say it's on me, not get him ready, right? Not to let the young man take on this pressure, but moving forward, if he has to be that person, unfortunately lost his red shirt, right, as well, right? He was going to be red shirted, correct?
Well, you have 4 games you can play in. Okay. You have 4 games that you can play in. You can play the whole game. You can play 4 games. You can play all 4 games and still retain your red shirt. So he hasn't lost his red shirt yet.
Okay, good.
But he's played in 2 games.
Right.
And it looks like he's going to play in some more at this point. And probably he has lost the red shirt, because I'm sure at this juncture they feel like they have to have him ready, and they need to play him in games just to help getting him ready. So at this point, I think he probably has lost his red shirt, but he still has 2 more games. Here's the other thing. If Jack Tuttle can't play and this kid gets hurt, now Grant Graham is on the field, and now you got a backup. You got a walk-on who's the quarterback, and a backup who's going to also a walk-on. There's a reason they're backups.
Hey, you got walk-ons playing. I mean, it's a beautiful story for them. I mean, but I understand for the faithfuls, it's not. I get it.
Yeah, exactly. It's be rough. Maryland has lost their top receiver, so that has hit their offense a little bit, and their defense efficiency has dropped to 12th in the Big Ten. So there, as you mentioned, there is light coming, and hopefully it's a turtle and not a train. But Indiana has to travel. I remember going there. It was maybe 4 years ago now. They went there and ended up losing there in a game. Yeah. But it's a time they have to stand up, like you said. They just have to bow up and get over, because this is a game they can win. And if they're going to win 6 games, there's no more margin for error. You've got 1 loss allowed from here on out. So you've got to beat the teams you're supposed to beat.
I guarantee you, the Maryland radio stations are saying the same thing about us.
That's
This
right.
is the game we can win. They're playing just as bad as us. They can pull this one out. They
Right.
can turn it. I guarantee you, it is the same thing in Maryland on the radio stations. This is the get right game.
There you go. Don, you and Coach Allen return to Southern Stone Restaurant this Wednesday at 7:05 for the coaches show, right?
Yeah, well, we're hoping that we don't have another electrical fire that puts us in a radio studio last week. Last week they had in the building, and I don't think it was in the Southern Stone restaurant itself, because the building that houses Southern Stone, there's another restaurant there, and there's an office portion to the building as well. But they had some kind of a electrical fire that kicked all the alarms and everything on. And everybody had to file out. We didn't smell smoke. We didn't see smoke or anything like that in the restaurant at all. But we ended up having to do our show from WHCC studios in Bloomington. Rick Evans was kind enough to come in and help us get everything set up within about a 20-minute time span, because we were on the air. We were going to go on the air. Well, this happened about 20 minutes after 6, and we went on the air at 7:05. So we all had to make the trip over to the studios at WHCC, and it was a mess. There's no question about it. But we were able to get on the air, and hopefully we'll have no problems this week, and we'll be on at 7:05 with the coach at Southern Stone.
Can't wait for it, Don, and I can't tell you how much we appreciate having you here each week.
Hey, thanks for having me, guys. Good seeing you.
Thank you, Don.
You betcha. Don Fischer, the voice of the Indiana Hoosiers, joining us here on Indiana Sports Beat, kicking off your Monday. Me and Charlie Miller will be back right after this with more.
We'll be right back to the Golf Club at Eagle Point Studios for more Indiana Sports Beat Radio with Jim Coyle, presented by Andy Moore Honda of Bloomington and Southern Stone Restaurant.
Whether it's a celebration.
Oh, you done?
Where am I at here? Why can't I shut this thing off?
Just hit X out.
It says leave
What?
studio.
Oh, there it
It
is.
says,
Oh, I see it. I see
all right,
it.
buddy.
I couldn't see it. I'm old.
Hey, I am too, brother. Trust me. If I don't have these on, I can't read my phone.
See you guys.
See you in a couple hours.
Let me get my coffee if you don't mind, bro.
Yeah, buddy, do whatever you need. How are you, sir? Put my neck brace back on. Man, Don was in a happier mood. Oh, man.
I guess what you gonna do at this point?
Exactly, but
Should have asked him about Ja'Kai Newton.
what about him?
I don't know. I just usually throw in basketball stuff when football's bad. So.
He doesn't really follow that.
Okay.
I mean, he knows. I mean, I shouldn't say that. That's not true. I shouldn't have said that. It's nothing he doesn't follow it.
I know what you mean.
He's geared towards football right now, I guess. I think that's what I'd say. Hey, you know what?
What?
We also have JQ for the segment.
That's not. I haven't taken care of that yet. You told me to wait on that, so that's not ready.
I need somebody for 10 o'clock.
I can move Reamer up. He's at 10:40 right now.
No, I don't want him moved up. That's the whole point.
All right.
You see what I'm saying? Yeah, I need somebody else in that. Not that we can't handle it. We can. There is a fly in here, and I cannot stand flies. I hate when a fly gets in your house. It drives me absolutely insane, and I will hunt it down. Charlie, how was your weekend, my friend?
Hey, we don't have
Good,
time.
man.
We're coming back. Sorry.
Oh, cool.
Or you can find it any place you podcast or on this station each weekday. If we're not on the station where you live, we should be for Indiana Sports Beat Radio.
This segment is brought to you by AAA Insurance. Now back to the Golf Club at Eagle Point Studios for more Indiana Sports Beat Radio with Jim Coyle, presented by Andy Moore Honda of Bloomington and Southern Stone Restaurant.
Happy Monday. Can you say happy Monday? Are any Mondays happy, really? Because it's a Monday.
Yes, it's all perspective, right?
I hear you, man. Hey, don't forget about the good folks at AAA Insurance. If you live down in Southern Indiana, Southwest Indiana, Evansville, Southern Illinois, AAA Insurance has got you taken care of. Be insured by someone who cares about you. And AAA Insurance cares about bringing this program to you. So give them your support. 812-477-9966, AAA Insurance. Man, yeah, it was a rough weekend on the football field for Indiana, Charlie. It was just they were beat down in every facet. But you hit on something that they had a confidence building drive.
Yeah,
that wasn't just a drive. That was a confidence.
That first drive.
That's like let me bow my chest out. You scored a touchdown. Well, here I am. I'm right back at you.
That first drive was strong. Again, injury happens, stuff happens, and
I think
you don't know
a little bit, but I don't know that overall it would have. But it was good to see because you hadn't seen. I'd have to go back and look. There hadn't been that many successful drives all season for Indiana like that, and to do that against Ohio State, it was impressive. But unfortunately.
I equate that, if I can equate that to basketball. And again, who knows, right? But I equate that, and the only name just popped in my head was Brian Evans. I don't know why. You got Brian Evans playing well. All of a sudden, he gets hurt. He's your leading scorer.
How about Alan Henderson back in the 94 game?
Okay, neat, right? And the whole course of the game changes. And who knows why? You could go back and look at film and say, okay, we see now why we can prepare for that. But during the game. So then as a coach now, football wise, you got to put players out on the field that have not got reps with the first team, that you don't trust with the game plan. I'm more than certain the game plan scripted as far as even the audibles are called. So you're not going to put that kind of pressure on a player who didn't get those reps in the audibles. So it's going to be handoff right, handoff left, 3 and out. And now defense, again, anomaly. Defense normally holds their own. Who knows? You played against a really good core of wide receivers and running backs and quarterback. I mean, you had that ball, that perfect ball. You got your butt kicked. You're hoping moving forward, it's a different outlook.
Unfortunately, it was not.
Yeah.
But now going forward, that was the game that anyone expected Indiana to win.
Right.
They were a 21-point underdog, and I said, I don't know that. And before the game, I said, I don't know if that's enough. And it wasn't. But now they do have to flush that.
Yeah.
And that's one of the things for me when I was competing in whatever I was doing. That was the hardest thing in the world for me to do was to flush that stuff. It hung on me and lingered, and it drove me insane. I'm like, gosh, but you have to move forward.
Yeah. And I don't know in football, because again, I can only imagine because you have a whole week before you play again.
Yep.
And, just the mindset of a student athlete, you're going to class, you're getting a side eye, I'm telling you, it's like, it's a whole nother world to the psyche. You're getting a side eye, you're getting talked about, getting smiled at, now can you go flush it and get ready for this next game? In basketball, you lost by 15. We got another game on Tuesday. A little more reasonable for me to understand. And then all of a sudden you can redeem that win. Football, you got to wait a whole nother week.
Yeah. Sean says he's gone from he has the feeling, went from feeling like IU football was building something to thinking the cupboard is completely bare. No O-line, no offensive coordinator, and a major concern at quarterback. What will next year be? What will next year be better? Well, I don't know. because I don't know what and if any changes will be coming after the season. I would be hard pressed to think not, but it's way too soon for me to start that discussion. I'll let other people do that.
Yeah.
But just I'm in back of my mind, yeah, I'm thinking there's probably going to be changes, but I'm not going to sit here and start hopping. You got to do this. I don't know exactly. I think that the offensive coordinator is kind of a problem, but I don't know that because I don't know that the players are executing exactly how they're supposed to execute. But then who's that fall back on? Again, the coaches. So it's all, no matter what, it ends up falling onto the coaches, especially when you rave about having the talent you need. So, yeah, it's going to be definitely changes. I think Tom Allen has done, again, I'll say it 1,000 times. He's done what no one else could have done with that football program.
Right.
But there have been some big time dips and continue to have big time dips. So I don't know that you can continue to have an upward trajectory if you also have big drops a lot. And I think not being an offensive mind, Tom Allen has always been a defense, and he stated that, hey, I need a head coach on offense. Well, yeah, and that's bad because that means he's not really offensive minded and he's trusting someone, and that's where that goes. So we saw what Kalen DeBoer was able to do with pretty much the same players and what he's doing now. So coaching makes a gigantic difference. Trust me on that. But yeah, they're going to have to do something. They can't just stand pat. There's no question about that. The quarterback room, we don't know what's going to happen with Michael Penix. He's got another year of eligibility. Jack Tuttle still has another year of eligibility. You've got all these other quarterbacks now. They've probably got 14 they'll run in there. But Josh Hoover coming in, so it's going to be there. But Josh Hoover was recruited by the current coordinator, so there's always these woven, all these fibers, man, are woven together. And when you start pulling strings and fibers out of that deal, what happens? It starts to fall apart a little bit. So you've got to watch how you do that. It is a very tricky dance. And with the transfer portal, if things are going bad and people are losing their confidence and they look around and say, man, I think I can help this team. They need a position. They need me in a position. Bam. So let's hope that doesn't happen, but it's just a lot to go from there.
And due to the transfer portal, I can only imagine the mentality of players is you can't say that some of those guys are not looking because it's you have that right now. You have that right as an athlete to do that. And sometimes when things aren't going your way, you start looking outward, and you just hope it's not. You just hope that the band of brotherhood is strong enough, and they have to fight through this. I mean, because I think it's really I saw somebody put it's that was a national embarrassment. I think the embarrassment more so is what they were supposed to be and what they're doing. I think that's the gap that we got to fill. We got to figure out. And you hope that the last half of the season they do figure it out.
Charlie, I can't hear you right now. I hope you guys
cannot
can hear me.
I hear you.
Okay,
John, can you hear me?
Now I can hear you.
Okay. Yeah, we're good.
Maybe my headphones.
Okay.
But I was putting up Sean's comment that I can put it back up so I can read it. We didn't trust McCulley to throw when they didn't trust McCulley to throw the ball. In fact, they sat him for a walk-on to throw the ball. That is a horrible optic for a future quarterback, the third string quarterback. Well, or the second backup. Yeah, that's you've got to trust him to throw the ball. How many times have we've seen Purdue use three quarterbacks?
Yeah.
Last year, I think it was Iowa State who brought in a kid that was also playing linebacker in the same game to run at quarterback or to play quarterback. So, yes, you have to have I think you have to have your top three guys ready, period.
Right.
Ready. And I don't know that the second guy was ready. It seems like they really put a lot of their eggs in Michael Penix, and that's a leaky vessel to put all your water in for past history, and it came back again, and because of that, they're paying the price. But
yeah, and I think that's kind of what you hear.
They don't have three ready at all times.
I think that's what you hear. I think they really wanted to get him prepared for the season, and was thinking that they were probably paying enough attention to the other two quarterbacks, and it might be showing its head, the lack of preparation for the other two. And the next man up,
any quarterbacks in the transfer portal, they could come in and play right away. No, you can't do that. You can't change teams in the middle of the season. This is not professional sports.
That's free agency, right?
Still one offensive quarterback touchdown in 16 quarters. Yeah, no, that's not bad. That's horrific. Jennifer says not to make excuses, but IU football has had an unreasonable tough. Now and we're overlooking that a little bit. The only reason I'm overlooking it is because the teams that Ohio State, I did not expect them to win. You hope for them to be competitive. This year, I could see that wasn't going to happen. Last year, I felt the opposite. But they could have been competitive with virtually all those other teams. They should have beaten Cincinnati. Could have beat Cincinnati and Michigan State. So they did not take care of their opportunities when they had opportunities to patchwork this season together.
That's right.
And that's where, when the Cincinnati loss happened, I said, I guarantee you, mark this down. This game's going to come back to haunt them. And it is, because you're going to be searching for that sixth win. Yep. And now that pressure starts to build when you've got 3 games left, and you have to win all 3 of them.
I mean, you're searching for your 3rd win.
Yeah, I mean, they have room for one more loss.
Yeah,
for the rest of the season. And it's a lot of pressure on that quarterback. We don't know what Jack Tuttle's prognosis is. I think Tom Allen said X-rays were negative in the post-game presser, but we don't know recovery, sprained shoulder. I mean, it's a lower leg injury because he was limping. So I don't know. We don't know if it was an ankle, a knee. Since they took X-rays, that tells me it was probably an ankle, not a knee, because a knee would have gotten an MRI. But he did say that they had to get him an MRI. So we don't know. But if it's that sore and that's you wonder, can he go this week? Speaking of bum ankles of someone able to go, how about the Colts, man? Carson Wentz and the Colts, they beat Lamar Jackson. No, who did they beat yesterday? I'm
not sure where they played.
San Francisco last night.
Yeah, in the rain. Yeah.
On TV. Yeah. How they look good. The Colts are coming around. They after the first quarter, they scored a ton of points, which is a great sign. Carson Wentz was looking good. Can't wait to talk to Matt Taylor on Thursday when he joins us, the voice of the Colts. But man, that was I didn't get to watch much Sunday football, but do you watch much NFL?
No, I had a camp
this
past weekend. Yeah, I was traveling. So, but and normally a lot of times, camps going on around 9 a.m. to 3 p.m. So that's when all the games are happening. I might catch a game walking in the terminal before I get on the plane. But yeah, so I didn't watch any games this weekend, football-wise, other than just try to catch the IU game, Saturday night. The little bit I could stomach.
Yeah, it was tough, I tell you. And the bad thing is, and I hate this for the football program, I hate this for Tom Allen. They had generated so much positive buzz.
Yeah.
They had built so much support. You sold out the Cincinnati game.
Yeah.
You had another big crowd sold out for the Ohio State game. You got to travel to Maryland. And when they come back, I guess the first home game is at Minnesota. I'm guessing maybe. It's a guess. But I wonder what the crowd's going to be like for that. But more importantly, this weekend, what is the mentality going to be like when you go on the road? They lost there 2 years ago. It was a game they probably should have won, and that was back when they still weren't winning games that they needed to win. Kind of back to where they are right now. And, I'm not going to sit here and say they did this wrong, they did that wrong, because I'm not in the meetings and I don't know.
Right.
All I know is what I see and what we hear, what we're told. But I do have a sinking feeling that they put everything they had into getting Michael Penix back and ready for the season start. Everything was geared towards him. Everything else was kind of fall off. Yeah, we got to do that too. We'll do that. But everything was focused on Michael Penix as a guess. I'm just guessing. Whereas maybe if both had that same attention, I guess, they'd be further along, because Jack Tuttle didn't just get here. He's been here for 2 years now. He's not a freshman. He was a top 11 quarterback. What's development?
Yeah.
Not seeing the development from these guys now that I think you need to see. Tim mentions Reese Taylor can play quarterback. Well, but he's got to be able to play in the game first. He's hurt. But he's not been playing quarterback. You can't just run. You can't in college. You can't just run everybody in a quarterback. You can't. Hey, go in a quarterback.
It's like Sandlot.
Hey, the only time you could do that, I remember when I was in. We were playing a JV game, and we had a beat so bad, and we were all, hey, coach, let me run quarterback. What he was letting us go in and run a play, but that's about it, man.
Yeah.
Because these schemes and all that, but they've got to get. Now they've got to get their backup ready, because if you don't trust him to throw the ball, you're in trouble, because you don't have a good offensive line to run over people.
Yeah.
Speaking of those stats, oh my God.
Yeah, I saw that. I think it was like what we were like on the ground was like a couple players had negative yards. A couple,
they averaged
like
as a
62
team,
yards.
As a team, Indiana averaged. Was it 2 yards a play or 1?
It was like 2, yeah, because like 30 carries for like 2 yards, 2-point-something yards.
Well, the average rushing, just in rushing, they averaged 1.3 yards per carry.
Yeah.
Versus 5.8, basically 6 for Ohio State. So Ohio State was generally at 2nd and 4.
Well, they had some big holes too. I mean, it was like gaping holes to hit, and all of a sudden it's like a 15, 18-yard run, Ohio State, and then all of a sudden 2 plays later, it's a tight end in the middle, touchdown, or on a wide out running for a touchdown after a catch. So, yeah, man.
On third down, Indiana's just dying on third down. They were 5 of 14. That's 9 possessions that they did not get to have or can continue, while Ohio State only was 6 of 9. So it was just, you don't even need to read the stats. The stats make it look worse. If you read the stats, it's like, oh my God. It's just because you should not be able to be held down that badly. But they are, and they've got problems to fix. But, oh well. Break time. We'll get off of that subject. We'll talk some hoops and good things like that. Charlie Miller with me on this Monday. We appreciate you. Brought to you by AAA Insurance. Don't forget, if you're down in Southern Indiana, Southwest Indiana, Southern Illinois, 812-477-9968. Be covered by someone who cares about you and cares about bringing this program to you. We're back with more of it right after this.
We'll be right back to the Golf Club at Eagle Point Studios for more Indiana Sports Beat Radio with Jim Coyle, presented by Andy Moore Honda of Bloomington and Southern Stone Restaurant.
Hey, we all need insurance.
I feel like I got my mojo back, man. I'm still hurting, but my mojo's back.
Good. You look a little more mobile, so that's a good thing.
And I'm able to talk about bad things without being too negative about it.
Good. Yeah, because there's no need to beat down that horse.
Oh, heck no, man.
That's a tough one.
That's a 3-legged horse right now.
Yeah, that's a tough one. Coach, nice birthday's today.
Are you kidding me?
Yeah, it's 81.
John, please get something up on that, would you?
You want the video? Is that what you're asking? What do you want?
No. Is there a video?
I thought you meant like the one that you had of the interview. What do you mean get something up on that? What do you want?
About it being Bob's night. I don't know. I'm just trying to think.
There's been people in the comments saying all sorts of stuff.
I didn't see that.
Yeah, Coach turned 81 today. Yeah, we got you're talking about Ja'Kai Newton.
Yeah, oh yeah.
That was a big deal. Yeah.
Heck yeah, man. Yeah, I've got him pulled up to talk about. That's
Yeah.
good at. You know about him?
I don't, other than what I would see on polls and.
You can go on, and don't forget I think you have an Indiana Rivals account, right?
Yeah.
Okay, I was going to say, make sure there's all kinds of stuff in there.
Yeah, I appreciate that. I would. I forget about that. Yes. Yeah.
Jared sat in the rain, man. Trooper, Jared, you're a trooper.
Was this the Ohio State game?
Yeah.
Did it rain? Okay.
It was like one of those heavy mists.
All right, here we go.
Terrible.
$0 down. Get more to your door with AndyMooreHonda.com.
Come see us at the all-new Andy Moore Honda, now in Bloomington.
This segment is brought to you by Andy Moore Honda of Bloomington. Now back to the Golf Club at Eagle Point Studios for more Indiana Sports Beat Radio with Jim Coyle, presented by Andy Moore Honda of Bloomington and Southern Stone Restaurant.
Welcome back. Indiana Sports Beat Radio brought to you by Andy Moore Honda. Man, Bloomington, if you're looking for a deal, they have them. Brand new Honda Pilots 21s and 22s, $0 down, 0% financing. Same for 2021 Honda Passport, $0 down, $0 APR. There you go, man. It's time to get a new car. Andy Moore's got it for you. And get more to your door with AndyMooreHonda.com. Today's a special day, Charlie, that you brought up. Coach Bob Knight is celebrating his 81st birthday today. Former Indiana basketball coach Bob Knight. So happy birthday to him. I am quite certain that I'll text John, but I'm sure he will be getting a root beer shake that I think he enjoys float, because they don't have those at Culver's. So John Laskowski has to take the whole machine down to clean it out of the ice, the stuff that they normally use, and then run the flavor just for him.
Nice.
To do that. But he does that very often. So I'm quite sure he'll be getting one of those today. But happy birthday to Coach Knight, who turns 81 today. So thank you for pointing that out.
Yeah, 81, man, turned 81. So it's just, I'll probably text his wife, Karen, to let her know, to send the message, because that's just kind of used to the customs. Like it's like always through the wives.
Right.
Yeah. So
because that's the only way you know it's going to get there.
Well, and that's exactly right. Even with my
anywhere,
guy.
I'm talking about anywhere.
Yes, even with Coach Felon, it's like I'll send a text message, and then I'll get a message back from his wife saying, "Hey, he doesn't do text, but I'll make sure he gets it." So it's all good, man.
I have had too many cups of coffee.
Hey, you know what? Hey, man, Indiana Creek Water. Listen, man, let's get off Jim today. Jim's been hurt. You've noticed these last several, at least on Mondays with me, Jim's been stiff, can't move. I mean, you know, if you just watch the rehab he's doing when we're taking breaks,
getting the mojo back, baby.
He's back. Look, the AC/DC shirt. He's back today. Back in black. He's back today.
Oh, Indian Creekwalker thought that he thought we were talking about Mike Woodson.
Oh
no, we're talking about Bob Knight. Yeah.
Oh no.
Yeah, no. Oh yeah.
Come on.
No, it's all good. It's great. Happy birthday to him. I don't know when Coach Woodson's birthday is, but they always post that stuff on social media. So looking forward to that. But now basketball season is getting closer, and not only that though, Indiana with a new commitment this past Friday. You mentioned Jakai, man. He is. It seems to be an exact player, the type player that Mike Woodson wants. He's kind of that. He's a 6'4" shooting guard, so he can probably play. I think he plays both, on and off the ball. So he's a good combo guard. 4-star out of Georgia. He's trying to play positionless, but you can't always do that at the point. I mean, but this kid seems to be a pretty good one. Good catch.
Yeah, and just, you know, from what I've heard of him and what I know, he's another, you know, skilled energy guy, right? I mean, you know, very vocal. He's a winner, and listening to why he committed to Indiana was the reasons of, hey, look, you know, we want you to play. You play right now the way we're going to play moving forward, up tempo. Anybody push the basketball. I mean, again, music to any player's ear, especially if you're skilled and you're also looking at Coach Woodson for the trajectory if you want to continue to play wherever that may be next level. That's a big ceiling. That's a big selling point I feel Coach Woodson has. Now, you still has to coach at the college level. We hadn't played one quarter yet, or one half. Then you still have to make the adjustments. But I think all the pieces are falling in place as far as what you need to build a winning program moving forward.
He's considered a guard that can really score at all three levels. He's a great athlete. He's an aggressive defender, which that's probably what caught Mike Woodson's eye first. I would think that a coach is out watching some games wherever, and he's not looking at this kid specifically, but there's other kid. If there's somebody who is playing just shutdown defense, that is going to catch a coach's eye before almost anything else, I think, unless they sink 7 threes in a row. But when you're playing lockdown defense, that stands out more than anything, in my opinion.
Well, no, you're saying it. And I talked about that extensively this weekend at my basketball camp. This camp in particular, we watch film. We go over things you're talking about right now. Defense is something that you can control at all given times. It's something that can help you become consistent. When you go to nationally invite type camps, exposure camps, or team camps, or AAU stuff, you've already been verified as a player. I think they know what you can do offensively. They want to see you defensively. Do you take pride not only on ball but off ball defense? Are you aware? Can you help? Can you help recover? Do you know how to close out? Right. And then, I mean, and I would have to imagine a 6'4", good sized player like he is, who can fill it up at all three levels, can shoot the three mid-range, and finish at the rim. That has to stick out big time.
A little irony, Charlie. His other finalists included Georgia and Vanderbilt, because he's a Georgia native down there in the Atlanta area, along with some other. There had been some others, but so Indiana goes down to Georgia and plucks out one of their top guards out of the South, right out from under Tom Crean and Bloomington. So a little irony there, but and don't expect that pipeline to stop. Because Coach is this is the second straight commitment from a Georgia kid.
That was going to say, but you said those fibers, right? He has a relationship, assistant coach. And I mean, again, for me, just my perspective, you go to school because relationship. It's a coach that you know. He coached you. She coached you. Somewhere along the lines, you all connected. All of a sudden, you're at a perennial program like Indiana. You can get these kind of players. It's relationship. You said the same thing about football. The same thing happens on the basketball side too.
Yeah, 99 times out of 100, or however you want to get that, they're picking for the coach. Sometimes maybe the school, but it's usually the coach. They want to play for that guy or that system. And if the school plays into that, like an Indiana does, that's the great thing about Indiana. You've already got the school that will draw. I mean, there's no way that the 5 national championships, the Assembly Hall, the basketball state, you've already got that pulling on every one of these guys once they get a dose of it. Then it's just a matter of solidifying that relationship. And as we're seeing recruiting wise, they're not having any problems. I mean, I'm not saying they're going out and signing all these 5 stars. That's probably going to take a season or two because these kids want to see what's going on, because Indiana's not been shoving guys into the NBA, although we've had Juwan Morgan and Romeo go in, but Romeo was going in regardless. They want those schools that are year in and year out are sending guys into the draft. And I think Indiana's going to be back there quickly. They're just not there right now, but that could change next year, TJD starting, and then the year after that. And then I think you're going to see more and more higher level recruits coming in.
Without a doubt. I mean, you had a strong core. If you think about this, you had a strong core, and it was drips, and you got about 7 or 8 guys now in the NBA still active, and you have an identity, like you just said. We've always had an identity. But the identity on the court has to now be reestablished because you have a whole new coaching staff. We haven't seen. We've heard about, but I think they've done a good job of keeping it closed off as far as the style of play, offense, defense, private scrimmage in Bahamas. All that's yet to be seen. Not too much I'm looking into the first couple games of the season. I think these are guaranteed wins if they come out and play well. But I think you're going to see, like you just said, over the course of a couple of years, you're going to be competing for those top, 5-star recruits, and all of a sudden you might resurrect this whole ship moving forward.
I was talking about that Georgia pipeline. Coach he's an Atlanta area native.
Right.
He was on staff at Georgia and Alabama before, and then spent the last couple of years out of the college game working with the top prospects in, I assume, training. So he has the relationships.
Relationship. So that's what
it's like. So you just grab somebody else that already has a bunch of fiber, and you it's like making a quilt. I mean, it sounds goofy,
really,
but it's making a quilt.
And you want this quilt, and you want this quilt to continue to be passed on.
It's got to be, yep.
And keep passing the torch,
and you got to keep adding
stronger
and
stronger. You got it right. That's exactly
absolutely. And if you want to read more, Alec Lasley's got all kinds of great stuff up on him at thehoosier.com. Go there and sign up. It's free, or you don't even have to sign up to read it. But here's what he had to say for what Indiana is getting. One of the top guards in the South in the 2023 class. Yeah, he's in the 2023 class, don't forget. So he's a couple years out. And that's a little unusual, making that commitment that early. But some kids like going, I already know. I don't want to deal with this stuff now. I'm done with it. I'm going to focus on what I'm doing. So he can focus on high school. He can focus on birthdays. He can focus on whatever he wants.
Yes.
I don't have to deal with that stuff. And
that's a smart move. That's a smart move.
Because when you're a high-profile recruit, I don't have this experience. You do. And I probably wasn't. All right. I'm sure it was pretty bad at the time you were going through it, but can you imagine now with all of the social media things, the everybody Twitter messaging, I mean, people send that stuff to you. Yeah. Can you imagine going through recruiting now with all of this?
Yeah. And I know, and again, reflecting, I wasn't even ready for it then. No way. And you throw in social media and you're not emotionally mature enough to really handle this stuff. You got people in your ear telling you what to say, how to say. I'm commending this young man. If what he has in mind, let me commit so I can commit to continue to getting better, right? To understand what they're doing on the court. I can also identify my role. I could talk to the coaches. I could call them. Hey, coach, I watched the game. Hey, what are you guys doing? How do you see me fit in that scheme a couple years from now? Like, I mean, if that's what he has on his mind, man, what an opportunity to really see the value he can bring once he gets on campus.
And now Jalen Hood-Schifino, CJ Gunn, Caleb Banks in the fold.
Yep.
Waiting on one more potentially, and Noah Clowney. And what a recruiting class that would make. I mean, for different reasons. Not you'd have, first of all, it'd just be a hell of a recruiting class.
Right.
But he would round it out because that would give you 2 guards, a forward, and a big man. I mean, I think Mike Woodson might know what he's doing. Hello. I mean, that's
right.
They know what time it is. And
hey, man,
I'm not going to be surprised to see him get Noah Clowney. I don't know where his recruiting is. I know that Indiana is in good shape, but that doesn't mean you got him. But I think they're in very good shape, and I think those kids look at these. They see who's coming in. They know who's there. They know who's leaving. He knows Trace Jackson's gone. After the season, so he's saying, "Hey, I'm going to step right in and for
That's
that."
Right. That's right.
And that's exactly what he's expecting in all these kids, because you have to have that kind of mentality, though, that I'm going to be the guy. Even if you're not, you still need to have that mentality to keep pushing in practice to try to become him.
Yep. And I may even go, I mean, just me, I'm going to just step out also too. I feel what Coach Woodson was able to witness with the New York Knicks before he became the coach. I mean, there has been a total resurrection, and you can go to Tom Thibodeau on that, but you are part of that staff. You are part of that staff that helped the Knicks establish identification on defense. Now what they're doing offensively. Now that place is rocking. Master Guaz, you were part of that. People, I mean, the players know that. That's being talked about in circles. If you're a player, remember, coach, and I got a player going, man, look at what he did. Look what Coach Woodson did at New York, at the Knicks. Look at the players, how they play. A lot of that's assistant coaches, not really head coach. It's not assistant coaches.
The head coach is more a manager.
More manager, right? More like a baseball manager, right? More so like, that look at look at what he's doing recruiting wise. Look at assistant coaches. Look at what they're doing. That's all discussed. You're all looking at that, especially when you have choice. When you're a top 4-star, it wasn't 4 or 5-star back in my day. You were just kind of a top player. But when you have choices, and when you look out and you see you're going back to that coach's experience, his pedigree, where he's coming from, that's all accounted for. Trust me. They're looking at all this stuff.
And I talked about this recruiting class being very balanced. It's already balanced, but if Noah Clowney were to come in, just completely balances it out. Well, and you bring up the assistants, Kenya Hunter. I think he's got a very strong East Coast pull. Coach we just talked about him having a great pull in the South. Dane Fife has killed Indiana. Recruiting for Michigan State out of Indiana and all around the Midwest. So you've got that. Then you've got the head man who can basically go wherever he wants to go.
That's right.
But that is even the assistant coaches are set up in a systematic way, and it worked out that way. It wasn't, constructed because 2 of the guys were already here, and they came it isn't working out that. But that's goes into how you design your staff. And
then given also, let's also acknowledge Coach Thad Matta. I mean, even though he's behind the scenes, I mean, to me, it's still mind-blowing thinking like, man, you got over 50, 60 plus years of experience that all of a sudden just came to Indiana, right? I mean, all of a sudden, and now they're pulling, top recruits, they're competing. If we're not getting players signed, we were heavily considered. So it's it's going to be interesting to watch over the next couple of years the development of the program.
Forrest points out there's 2 more 4-stars on Newton's high school team.
That's a great thing.
Dude, they're going.
That's a great thing.
How does that team not win a state title?
Yeah, that's a great thing.
You listen to Indiana Sports Beat Radio, brought to you by the great folks at Andy Moore Honda in Bloomington. If you're in the market for a new car, Andy Moore's got it for you. Go to andymoorehonda.com, get more to your door. They've got $0 down, 0% financing on pilots, brand new ones, Honda, also on passports. So head on into Andy Moore Honda of Bloomington. We're back with more Indiana Sports Beat Radio right after this.
We'll be right back to the golf club at Eagle Point Studios for more Indiana Sports Beat Radio with Jim Coyle, presented by Andy Moore Honda of Bloomington and Southern Stone Restaurant.
Whether it's a celebration or just whee. What you got this week, Charlie?
Man, camp season just ended for me. I was right outside of Madison, Wisconsin, a city called Stoughton. Right outside, so camp season just ended. So now,
a buddy of mine I used to rodeo with. He lives in Broadhead. I think it's just north of Madison.
Yeah. So for me, this is kind of like a little recovery because basketball is about to start up too, high school wise. I'm placing a lot of emphasis on rest this season, man, because for some reason, Jim, man, right around Christmas time, I get like worn out and I always catch a cold or something. So I'm gearing up for not doing that this season, man. I'm gonna try to get some rest, man. I'm gonna try to
stay healthy.
Yeah, man. So I'm just kind of taking it as easy as I can, but you gotta continue to work as hard as you can too. Trying to find that balance, man.
Yes, sir, Bob.
You guys hear me okay?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Okay, I switched to headphones. I'm hoping that I don't know if this we'll see what happens.
All right, here we go.
Car financing over 48 months and $0 down. Get more to your door with AndyMooreHonda.com.
Come see us at the all-new Andy Moore Honda, now in Bloomington.
Now back to the golf club at Eagle Point Studios for more Indiana Sports Beat Radio with Jim Coyle, presented by Andy Moore Honda of Bloomington and Southern Stone Restaurant.
Welcome back. Indiana Sports Beat Radio on this Monday. Bit of raining, but I think I see a break in the clouds, Charlie. A little sun sneaking out. Hey, if you're looking for a home in the Indianapolis area, it's been tough lately, but you need Cheryl Sizemore from Remax Indy Home Pros. She's been in it. She's got over 2 decades of experience. Could be the difference in you getting the home you want. Reach out to her, 317-298-0961 or Cheryl at IndyHomePros.com. Oh, Charlie, what do you do? Exercise yourself. When you're doing your camps, do you play much?
Yeah, so I appreciate that question, man. I call myself an active coach. I'm on the court. It's It's hard for me to just sit on the sideline. I'm literally on the court sweating. Like I'm dressed. I'm dressed. I have to wear my tights,
It's good
my
exercise.
shorts, and my shoes. Yeah, and that's how I get my exercise. I mean, every single day. I'm very fortunate in that regard. I don't coach from the sidelines. And I know Coach Knight was like that earlier on in his career. I would hear the stories from Scott May, Quinn Buckner, how Coach, when he first got to Indiana, he would actually be on the court, getting in, reps and possessions. And I know for me, when I do that, I get a player's perspective on the development side, how they embody their whole experience. So I'm very active. I got to sweat. And that's how I look to get my exercise every day.
And I would think that if I was a camper,
yeah,
that means more to me seeing you do that than you just telling me to do it.
Yeah. And also, me being naturally left-handed, I figured out how over the years to shoot the basketball just as good right-handed. So even with footwork. So when I'm demonstrating, I'm going both ways. And sometimes I do this on purpose to kind of lock in players, because it's like, okay, if he can do it, I can too, like a primal cue. But man, to sweat with them, to say, man, I'm not trying to break your spirit or break your sweat. Let's keep it going. That means a lot, versus, like you said, just sitting on the sideline telling somebody what to do and what they're not doing.
Yeah, that definitely would be more type of stuff that I would need. But Noah Clowney, he's another guy we haven't talked about. That's the guy that Indiana's waiting on. He's a big man, 6'10", and I think someone mentioned this, and I kind of agree with it. I think that Romeo's birthday today too. I
didn't know that. I just learned that.
Wow! So you're telling me that Romeo Langford shares a birthday with Bob Knight? That's well, not that. I mean, I'm sure a lot of people do.
Right.
But my birthday's on Abraham Lincoln's birthday.
That's nice.
That's how I remember.
Right.
Yeah, happy birthday to Romeo, and he's down from my neck of the woods down there. But very cool. Clowney, he moved his decision from a day. It was going to be on a Sunday, October 31st. I think, and I'm pretty sure just because of it was Sunday and it was October 31st, Halloween.
Right.
Trick or treat. You don't want, man, that'd be bad if he went trick or treat, fooling somebody. Trick or treat who decided on his school.
Right.
But most people think that it's down to Indiana and Alabama. And I just saw that from someone. There you go. And I agree because Alabama's on the rise.
Right.
Nate Oates, they got him in there. He's locked in. Immediate success. But they don't have the tradition. They don't have, they're not going to play the schedule that Indiana, but that didn't always win everybody over. He's from South Carolina, so he's a Southern kid. But it doesn't really matter if you're going to go to Alabama or South Carolina. I mean, Indiana will be further away. And how much do you think that plays in parents wanting to see their kids play and not be too far away?
Yeah, I mean, okay, so Tuscaloosa to South Carolina, 4 or 5 hours, give or take.
It's like 12 hours here to here.
12, but I mean, that's a difference. Yeah, but I think for me, style of play, we've seen Coach Oates, what he believes in, which is the 3-ball. They believe in 3 or layup. So for me, that's kind of something that I would, as a player, because they shoot.
And I know he's going to want to shoot perimeter, but he can't just do that. He's going to have to mix it up.
Well, that's what I'm hoping. Yeah, and that's what I'm hoping that Noah Collins looking at. Style of play. I think that's huge. Who knows what he's being sold or told.
And it's an area that Mike Woodson excels in.
Exactly. Right.
So, at the highest level.
Exactly. You've been there, right? So, but he's had success at Alabama. So, I wish the best for the kid. Obviously, I hope he comes to IU. But it'd be interesting to hear his decision and why he made that decision.
He's the number 7 center in the country, and actually, according to Alec, I think Alec Lasley's piece, make sure it's Alec. No, this is came from someplace else, a different rivals. But on this particular article I'm reading, it said that it seems to be more the Hoosiers and the Hokies, the Virginia Tech.
Virginia Tech, okay. Yeah.
And so I'm like, all right, well, I would think Indiana might have a better chance against Virginia Tech than against Alabama.
Yeah.
But I'm not, I don't follow Virginia Tech that closely, what they're doing right now. I'll have to dig that up. But he just would be, you're looking at it, there's a piece that's going to be gone, and he is the puzzle that fits right into that piece.
That can fit.
Boom. And I promise you, he knows that.
Right.
He knows he's going to play because they'll only have 4 big men next year, and none of his caliber.
Yeah.
He may be the best of all of the bigs when he gets here. Now, I don't mean that as a slight to Logan Duncombe or or Race Thompson.
Yeah.
I mean, he's just talent. He's not as big. He's not very big though, man. 205. Is that right? Holy cow. Man, he better start eating. He's 6'10", 205. I'm 6'1", 205, man.
Yeah. Wow. They're going to put some weight on him. That's not even.
But see, that holds you back though in that first year. You can't play I don't mean but you can't be a stick figure in the Big Ten.
No.
Them guys they're going to ask you off to the baseline.
Do that.
So he's going to have to start putting the muscle on, but he's a very talented kid. He can shoot the ball. So looking forward to seeing his decisions coming soon. What is today? The 26th? I think. I can't remember. Or the 25th. 25th. So,
yeah.
7 days, 1 week.
Yep. Exactly.
1 week from today, we'll know. So next week, that's what we'll be. I don't know if he'll come out, what time he comes out with that, but and that's another thing. The Indiana coaching staff doing a hell of a job recruiting while getting ready for the season with everything is new, everything new staff, new players, new faces that are transfers, new coaching staff, new system, all that. It's a lot going on for your first year. Your first year is hard because you've got to implement all of that and still recruit at the highest level. Right. That's a lot of managing to do. And it's probably someplace where Thad Matta comes in and can really help with that stuff. So
yeah. I'm not sure if you also saw Coach Miller, had some comments towards Coach Woodson as far as recruiting and what I guess he spoke out, for the first time.
I saw that he did it. I listened to about 10 seconds. I'm like, why am I listening to this? And just clicked it off. But some people told me that he said that Indiana has done more in the offseason, to improve. And I'm like, and it started with getting rid of you. Yeah. So that's the first. He was definitely telling the truth. They have done the most. They got rid of what was killing them, and they brought in a fresh plant, and it's growing. That tree was withering, man. That tree had brown. I'm just telling the truth. It is. We all know it's true. It's glad that he could say that. Yeah. I don't know if that's what he meant by getting rid of me, but he's telling the truth on that. They've had to. Because they didn't have what they needed. They didn't have the players they needed. They didn't have the number of players they needed. Archie was carrying around 2 scholarships in his pocket.
Yeah.
You cannot waste scholarships, man. You need them. And so that's not going to be the case now. But yeah, it was right. Did you listen to the whole thing?
I didn't. I just paid attention to what he said on the positive side. And I try to I let you speak through me and for me when it comes to speaking the truth. Yeah. Speaking the truth about anybody in that program. So I just sit back and nod my head and smile.
I know,
not because I'm scared, but I was like,
no.
You're right.
Let's keep it that way. I'll take the bullets. Trust me.
You do. Yeah, I'm just here.
Don't worry about it.
I'm here for the ride. I'm here for the ride. I got to go back to the locker room, Jim. I got to go back and say hi.
I know.
At least I'm trying to.
Hey, it's there. You go. 5 lefts. That's all. I try to. I try to stem it whenever I can, but then sometimes, Kevin's asking any word on Tuttle or Penix's condition today. There will be later. I'll be as soon as we finish the show. I head straight to the football facilities, and we'll have the Monday pressers, and I'll have all that up. I may start doing that live instead of recording and sending it up, and so that way you guys can catch it there on YouTube. But we'll find out today about Jack Tuttle. Penix is going to be week to week, but I, in no uncertain terms, expect his return. Mm-hmm. I think that it would be too much on him, because if he came back and they continued to play like they had been playing, it's going to be just bad for him. So it's better to let this injury take him out, decide what you're going to do for your future, because I don't know. Is he going to try to play quarterback yet again after having 3 consecutive season-ending injuries? I can't see that. But hey, it's not that he doesn't have the heart to do it. It's not working. I mean, maybe his body was not built to be a quarterback. Is there another position he wants to try to play? I don't know. It's going to be interesting. Does he transfer? Indiana's quarterbacks room is going to be stocked next year with Tuttle back, and you've got Donovan McCulley, who's getting some time now. You've got a walk-on who's getting some time, but then there's Dexter Williams, who tore his ACL before the season, and Josh Hoover, who, man, from his highlights and conversations, this kid is his demeanor, his heart rate must be like 20. And that's what you want. That's a guy that can make clear decisions. That's a guy who doesn't get rattled. That's right. And is able to be a quarterback. And when you watch his highlights, he looks like that. So, but that's
I'm going to go watch him play. I'm going to go watch him play.
Hey, I wish I could go with you.
You
know what?
Got 3 more games.
You know what? I have a ticket that I booked to Dallas and back for the NIT last year.
Oh, NIT. Okay, that's right.
I'm not going, so I still have a ticket to Dallas. That would be incredible to come down and do that. I may have to check his schedule. And
he has 3. I think he has 3 more games. He has 3 more games left, and I'm going to go watch. If not this week, I think this weekend. But I'll let you know. But I'm definitely going to go watch him play a game.
That would be something to do. Let's see. I think are we break time? We're about there. Let's go ahead and take a break. You're listening to Indiana Sports Beat Radio. Charlie Miller's with us. Jim Reamer will join us later. Back with more. Brought to you by the great folks at Remax Indy Home Pros. Cheryl Sizemore. Give her a buzz or reach out to her. Cheryl at IndyHomePros.com. Back with more right after this.
Wow. We'll be right back to the Golf Club at Eagle Point Studios for more Indiana Sports Beat Radio with Jim Coyle, presented by Andy Moore Honda of Bloomington and Southern Stone Restaurant.
If you're in the market for
Alabama comes in number 14 in the AP poll.
Oh, basketball?
Yeah.
Oh, football. Oh, basketball. Yeah.
I was about to say, did they lose again? I didn't see.
Yeah. No, they
I'm sorry.
They handed Tennessee a good kicking this weekend. Yeah. So 5 lets. So it's funny when you know somebody. It's tough. It's funny for me to call the nickname what a handle.
Yeah.
But 5 lefts. Is today your birthday? So today's your birthday as well?
Oh,
it looks like
really?
Yeah. There we go. Yeah. There we go. Happy birthday, man.
Did he say that? Or she must have found out from.
Well, no, he says I'm a true Hoosier. I share a birthday with Coach Knight. So yeah, awesome.
And
happy birthday, man. Yeah, happy birthday.
If I'd have known, I'd have baked you a cake.
There you go, man. Well, hey, coffee to coffee. There you go.
There you go. 5 lefts. Cheers, brother. We appreciate you.
Cheers, man.
Happy birthday. We have to start doing birthdays.
That'd be great. Might be a whole little segment.
By the way, I don't know if you want to make things negative again.
Don't you tell me it's your birthday.
No. My birthday's in August. But I do have the sound from Tom Allen, the 2 clips. One of them's your question, the other one's Zach's question. If you do want to use them, you don't have to. But if you find yourself going back to football,
what did Zach?
Why not?
What did Zach ask him?
Zach's it was a very long-winded question. It was the one that you told me to look at around the 30-minute mark. Where he answered, he was talking about, I guess, just kind of staying together, staying the course, LEO, all that. I mean, I don't know if you want to hear that kind of stuff.
No, I don't want to hear the questions though.
No. There's no question.
Okay.
They're all.
What did I ask? I forgot.
You asked. Hold on, I'm trying to remember what you said too.
I'm trying to remember.
I want to hear it. I want to hear it. I think it'd be.
Just say we'll see what Tom Allen has to say because I can't pinpoint exactly what it was.
I can't remember what I asked. Go ahead and run mine first and then the other one.
Okay.
Or is it difficult to do it that way?
No, it don't make a difference. I can do yours first.
It don't
do what?
Make a difference. I'm just teasing you.
I know.
And then another reminder too, we end 4 minutes early today because it's 56 Don Fischer Day.
Oh, well, I'm taking the breaks at the wrong time then, huh?
That's partially my fault for not telling you earlier, but it's fine.
It's all right. What did I freaking ask him, man?
All right, here we go.
Dinner at Sam's Clubhouse. Sam's Restaurants, professionals in the art of food and drink.
This segment is brought to you by Bubba's 33 in Clarksville. Pizza, burgers, beer.
Now back to the Golf Club at Eagle Point Studios for more Indiana Sports Beat Radio with Jim Coyle, presented by Andy Moore Honda of Bloomington and Southern Stone Restaurants.
Welcome back, Indiana Sports Beat Radio on this. It was a rainy Monday. It's kind of cleared out a little bit. If you're down in Southern Indiana, Clarksville area, make sure you stop by Bubba's 33. Here they're putting one in Evansville soon as well. Looking forward to that. Met with after the game, of course, we meet with the coaches, Tom Allen, and I'm trying to rack my brain. I cannot remember what I asked him. I know I touched on I think it was about the defense because the defense just played horribly and they were just the passes were wide open. The runs looked like anybody. They looked like they could have handed the ball off to me or thrown the ball to me because there was like an 8-yard bubble around the receivers. And I think I just asked him, did you see anything that for the reason that they were gashing the defense so badly?
Yeah, I mean, I just, to me, the biggest problem I think was, I was most disappointed in our tackling in the first half. To me, that was really what I didn't expect at all. And our run defense, I do get it. When you do some things, with vision, you're trying to create and not give up the explosive plays in the pass game. And I think that's, if I go back and you look at it, I think maybe too much emphasis on that, and just sometimes you just got to live with it. But I was definitely very concerned about that with our injuries that we had with our corners and the lack of even some depth at our stages because of some previous injuries as well. So I just felt like that we can maybe hold up and not be able to give up those explosive plays and still stop the run. And I think that's probably where the problem was created. And then you just pretty much we weren't good enough against the run. I mean, because if you can't stop the run, then you just kind of really makes it hard because they're still getting those pass plays as well. So, it was just it was ugly. That's really the only way that's the best way to describe it. It was just it was painful, especially that second quarter window was just not good, but yeah, I think like you said, when you start to play a more keep things in front of your approach, to me we just got to be more aggressive and that way. If they throw it over your head, they throw it over your head. So be it.
30 points in the second quarter, Charlie. Mm-hmm. They gave up 30.
Saw that.
That's generally about what they've been giving up for an entire game. You add that 2 touchdowns in the first quarter, 44-7 at the end of the half. They put it on cruise control after that and only scored 10 points, not trying to save their guys or rub it in. But, yeah, there you go.
But he also gave you he said something. If people listen, they had so much focus on not giving up big plays, right? If you heard that, we had so much focus on not giving up. You got tense and tight. That's just like locker room fodder. Here it is. We can't let Jim score. Can't let Jim score. All of a sudden, you forget about everybody else. And he said it.
Or if you say this, you can't let him score on the block. Can't let him
You
score on
can't.
the
You
block.
can't.
And he steps out and starts shooting the ball.
Exactly. And you focused. I think that's why it was ugly, because I'm listening. He said, we have so much focus in one area that I think we got too tense and tight about that. And we end up just.
And what that tells me is a little bit of a lack of confidence in the defense.
There you go.
But B, they and this has happened a lot. They do not have the capability, coaches, in their game plans to make in-game adjustments. And
that's what I'm hearing.
That's
what I'm hearing.
I don't care what sport it is. If it's basketball,
that's what I'm hearing.
You have to make in-game adjustments because I promise you, across that sideline, they are, if they have to, or if they don't, they're just going to keep doing what you have not adjusted to.
Yeah, and that's to me a lack of play. So it's almost like you're going into, and I don't want to say like I'm just my opinion. You're going into these games scared because you don't know. You don't know the predictability of the players. You're doing your best at game planning, but you're not making adjustments because you can't. It's like almost the personnel's not there.
And we've seen it all year offensively, and
I
was kind of wondering why. I'm like, okay, well, that's not working. What are you going to do here?
Right.
I think they kept getting enough false sense of security because you saw that it didn't work in the Iowa game, but then you get a break because you come home and play the Spuds, Idaho, which you can do whatever you want with them. But then you got to play a Cincinnati team, and the defense was there. The offense just wasn't. So again, you see it again. But then the next week, you play a Western Kentucky team, which was tougher than it should have been probably for Indiana. But again, they're not. They're like, okay, this is what we're going to do, and you have to stop us. Well, they are stopping you. Everybody is stopping you. So what's next? Do you think the back half of these Big Ten teams don't see exactly where your weaknesses are? Because the weaknesses are getting bigger, and by injuries, of course, and that's you can't control that. But that is what it is. I know everybody would like to talk about basketball, but it's still football season, guys.
That's right.
But speaking of something funny about basketball, I had it pulled up and I lost it. But how about those shoes? The shoes of Michael Jordan that's sold for
$1.4 something million. The training shoes. Yeah,
he wore them in a game. He wore them in a game, I think.
They had to be in the 80s. I saw those shoes. It had to be like one of the first pair of shoes he ever had or ever worn.
Well, they were white with the red swoosh on it.
White, exactly.
Let's get that pulled up, man. Yeah, so it's the first pair of shoes that went for over $1 million, right?
1.4. I think I thought he had more other shoes that have been auctioned for similar, but
I thought that's
in itself still
a record.
Wow, that's amazing.
I can't get it pulled up, man. I guess I'm not fast enough today. But auction, there you go. Shoes for sale, Michael Jordan. Like, dang on it. Taking me to Hibbett's. This thing's crazy, man. Where'd the auction go? Had an auction. I'm wasting so much time. Auction. There we go. They auctioned them off 1.5. They were 1984s. Just white with a red swoosh and then white around the ankle. Air Nike ships. Did you ever wear the ships?
No, I wasn't into 84, 76, 84, 76.
You 11 years old or something?
86, 74, 10, 11. I think I was into I had the kids.
It said that's not a record.
Wow.
The first pair of sneakers to ever crack the $1 million mark at an auction.
Wow.
Going for 1.72. Were acquired by collector Nick Fiorella. So he's got enough money to just throw a mill away because that's just going to go on a shelf in a box.
That's all it's going to
do. They're signed. It was from his 5th NBA game in his rookie season.
That's still a lot of money. That's a lot of money. That's 1.72.
1.47, I think.
Oh, 1 point. Okay.
Yeah. Right at 1.5. Nike Air Jordan 1 high game worn sneakers from 1985 sold by Christie's set the previous record when they were sold on August 20th, 20. Didn't say how much that was. Here we go, though. Sotheby sold a pair of Kanye West's Grammy worn Nike Air Yeezys prototypes from 2008 for $1.8 million in April, but those were sold at a private sale, so it's not the same as the auction. But
man,
so Yeezys went for more.
Yeah, that's a lot of money.
I don't do that. I've got a line of Adidas shoes that I am quite happy with that do not cost 6 figures. They don't cost 3 figures. I don't buy 3-figure shoes, man. I wear them out too bad.
Yeah.
Now, if it was basketball, it's different. And talk about that. Think about, in my lifetime, I know, but even in yours, the evolution of the shoe, how much better it's gotten. Now, I don't know if it's gotten better in comparison with the price raises, but they've definitely gotten much, much better in injury protection and use, I would imagine.
I'm more than certain. If you take my shoe evolution, I remember my first pair of basketball shoes were Brooks. And,
oh, wow.
And they
For
were
basketball?
worn by, yes, they were. It was Akeem Olajuwon shoes. Him and Dominique Wilkins, I believe, were wearing Brooks.
Really?
And then everybody had Converse, the canvas Converse. You had to have the canvas Converse.
And you got to have them now. Everybody should own a pair of canvas Converse right now.
And in Miami, we called them down and dirty. So you wore the canvas Converse
basketball shoe.
Yes.
If you go back and look at all the black and white pictures, everybody's wearing those high tops, Chucks. We call them Chucks.
Yes,
with
Chucks.
The logo right on the side.
Logo, the star. And I remember, and those are the very first pair of basketball shoes I ever put on my feet.
And if you did not have those, you had Buddies where I grew up.
There you go. Well, Buddy, as I said, kids.
Buddies was not a good shoe.
Right. We had kids.
Of a shoe. It was like
that's right.
Oh, you wear Buddies, man.
We call them Bobos, but it is what it is. All kind of names of the off brands, right?
I would love to hear all the different. I guarantee you, every part of the country has to have a name for those.
All kind of off brand
Bobos.
names.
I like that, man.
Bobos, you had the Pro Wings.
Yeah, Bobos. Oh man. Yeah. Look at you all, man. Look at you. Got them Buddies on, and you get called out too. Like, oh, look at you. You got them Buddies on, man.
I remember I remember 6th grade. I wanted a pair of the Jordans, Air Ones. I guess the first ones, the very first ones that kind of became popular. So we went to Payless Shoe Store. You didn't realize that Payless was a off-brand store. We go get the swoosh that has two. It's like not a Nike sign, but it's like 2 lines going down. And I'm wearing them. Oh man, so bad. Kids, don't be this harsh. So bad on the peer pressure, man. Those aren't Jordans. You got the Bobos on. Huh? So I go to the store the next day and get some shoes that are literally a size too small. And I think that's when I started wearing, and my toes started doing this, Jim, because you're trying to look cute.
Oh, man.
Because you want to wear some shoes that's too small. So instead of, man. So, man. So that, trying to look good and succumb to peer pressure hurt me at an early age, man, because I didn't have a pair of Jordans on.
Yeah. Oh, and that peer pressure when you're young. I will tell. I had a friend, Chris, when I was in high school, about one of my best friends. We played football together. But I remember when he moved into school, and he moved in after we had started the first week or so of football practice, fall practice. So he comes out, and they give him some equipment to go out there, but he's wearing his hush puppy looking dress shoes and dress socks.
Wow.
And we're like, who is this clown? But he ended up being a damn good player.
That's right.
He didn't care. You could have said cracked on him all day.
Didn't matter.
He's gonna hit you. He don't care.
With the hush puppies on.
That is the greatest mindset to ever be in, man.
Right.
But he was a kid. I wish to gosh I had his maturity, his don't give a crap about that stuff.
Right.
He knew what to care about, what not to care about. Most of us don't have that sense, but it was funny.
Hey, here's a funny story. At Indiana, we were wearing Converse, and we had a particular pair of shoes.
So on the night you wore Converse?
Yes. So because he moved. We never wore Adidas. 94 and 80 it was all Converse. So funny story.
Did they give you some canvas ones?
We never had canvas. It was like, they were trying to do like new brand stuff. And I remember one particular pair, they had a gel sole. They had a gel sole. And something happened because of the way we would practice. Everyone started slipping and falling. And at first, Coach Nice was like, what the hell's going on? Stop falling, tripping all over. They were just falling, tripping. Come to find out, we were busting the soles of the Converse and the gel was oozing out. So literally around the paint on the court, you cut, boom, you fall. And it was like, what is up with this?
Worse than water, because gel's slick in water.
The gel was we were busting the soles, so we had to change the whole entire pair of line of shoes we were getting. Because we were telling Coach, man, we're not just falling. Like something's up, but we didn't know what. Yeah, we were busting the soles of our shoes, man. That's how hard we were practicing.
Good thing social media wasn't around, man. That would have busted that would have been bad for them.
Tell me.
Holy cow. World Series set. The Astros and the Braves. Not what I was expecting. You had, was there three?
Boston, right?
Boston, but New York was a 100-game winning team.
Yep.
Tampa Bay was a 100-game winning team. The Los Angeles Dodgers won over 100 games. The Giants won over 100 games. Probably were thought to be the best in baseball this year. And probably the two least, I don't want to say least likely because Atlanta won their division, but Astros. Now, I don't like either one of these teams.
Yeah.
Astros are cheaters.
Yeah.
And I'm still mad about that.
Yeah.
They still got a lobby on the team.
Yeah. Yeah. And that's what people complain about also this season.
I don't want the Astros. I mean, I'm not an Astros fan either because, or Braves rather, because they're in the same division as the Reds. So I'm like, sometimes I'm like in bowl games, I'm like, oh yeah, I like to see all the Big Ten teams do well. Pro stuff, nope. If it ain't my team, and especially if you're against them, I'm like, I am cheering for either one of y'all. So I've got no vested interest in this World Series, but I will watch it because baseball playoffs are usually fun.
It's fun. Yeah.
Tight. Hey, we got to take a break. When we come back, Jim Reamer will join us. We'll talk a little more basketball. See what's going on. Hope you guys are having a fun day with us. Indiana Sports Beat Radio brought to you by Reynolds Family Dentistry down in Sellersburg. If you're in that area, go see our good buddy, Dr. J. He'll give you that championship smile. I promise. See? Back with more Indiana Sports Beat Radio after this.
We'll be right back to the golf club at Eagle Point Studios for more Indiana Sports Beat Radio with Jim Coyle, presented by Andy Moore Honda of Bloomington and Southern Stone Restaurant.
Whether it's a celebration.
Bob Leff says he remembers when the Jordans came out. There were two guys with them, Jordans, and everyone surrounding them had on Bobos.
Bobos, man. Bobo the clown, man. It's the clown shoes. That's what's Bobo.
Hey, the first time I have horribly ankles now, but because when I step, I don't step flat. I step with a slight on the outside of my heel every time. And all it takes is a BB for me to turn an ankle. But I was in an open gym, and I was wearing those Nike Cortez.
Yeah.
It was just the first small. It wasn't a high top, and it wasn't a basketball shoe either. But boy, I went up for a layup, and all I felt was that bone on your ankle that's on the outside of your ankle go hit the floor because my foot turned completely, and I was like, Jimbo, how are you doing, man?
Well, I'm fine, but my computers aren't fine for some reason. How's my audio?
Uh-oh.
Your audio's fine. You look good.
Well,
and your sound
it's
good.
good.
Clean.
All right.
Yeah.
Well, as long as it looks and sound good, I'm fine.
My
My laptop won't turn Bluetooth on. My desktop is completely shut down. I'm not sure what's going on, so we'll figure it out.
It's a little dark. I mean, that might be by choice.
He's got the window. Probably got the window shades drawn.
Yeah.
It's darker than I'm used to with you. So
Well, yeah, but with this camera, it's a different angle. So the back, you're getting more of the window.
Yeah.
Okay. You don't have to do it, Jim. Keep it how you had it.
You're getting more backlight.
Yeah,
you're good, brother. You're good. Yeah.
You get more backlight, so it makes me darker. You don't need to see me anyway. No one needs to see me.
I'm gonna call you Hoodie Jim today. You got the hoodie.
That's
hood
right.
shirt, right?
Okay, now what are doper?
That's what I need.
Dopemans are the Cortezes.
Oh,
the dope man shoes.
I've got 3 pair of Dopemans.
Why do they not call them Cortez anymore?
No, they're called Dope Man because that's like a drug. The drug dealer's form. The drug dealer shoes.
That's their nickname.
Yeah.
That's an old
Jim. Jim said it. The way you said it, I knew you were going, but it's actually like Dope Man, not Dope Man.
Dope Man. I got
that's a proper Dope Man. Dope Man shoe, Cortez.
Gotcha, man. I've never heard that. Man, that was the one and only
I've
pair.
Called him
Here's
Dope
what
Man
made me mad. I should save this. Yeah, but yeah,
I've got black on black that I just anytime I see a pair, I just buy them.
The Cortez or
yeah. Oh yeah,
nice.
The black on black. Nice. Yeah, I like the black soles.
I will never ever own a pair of shoes like that. They've got to be
coming back.
Oh.
We're not on the station where you live. We should be. Ask for Indiana Sports Beat Radio.
This segment is brought to you by Aurora Specialty Sleep Clinic. Now back to the Golf Club at Eagle Point Studios for more Indiana Sports Beat Radio with Jim Coyle, presented by Andy Moore Honda of Bloomington and Southern Stone Restaurant.
Welcome back. It is Monday. Jim Coyle with you. As always, Charlie Miller as well, and Jim Reamer joining us as he does. How are you, sir?
Doing well, man. Thanks for having me on again.
Absolutely. Our pleasure. What's going on in the world of basketball right now in the
well, the fall league I'm running up here, we just had our 3rd week. Jalen Harrelson is the real deal. Freshman. And he is he's basically playing in the top division, which there's no real yearly rhyme or reason as to how I do things as far as our team, our pool stacking and how we handle stuff. There's no set line every year. It's just we've got 3 or 4 pools every year that are just loaded, and he's playing in that group as a freshman.
What's his last name?
Harrelson. He's a 6'6" freshman at Fischer's. Him and Trent Sisley down at Heritage Hills will battle for the top freshman in the state. They went head to head against each other a few weeks ago at a freshman camp. That was fun watch. I mean, it's probably bad basketball, Charlie, but it was a fun watch. I mean, it just basically was 2 guys going ISO, and other kids in the team that couldn't get much help. So if one of them got a step, it was basically a basket.
Right.
But there was nothing wrong with that in that short setting. I mean, it was. But yeah, you wouldn't want them to, that's not great basketball as far as
you don't want that in the winter.
Right? No. But it was fun to watch because they knew it. They were going at each other, and it was fun to see them both kind of rise up for the moment, and also maybe kind of prove that they can't guard each other. So
right,
there's a little bit of that too. But no, he's impressive, and Sisley's impressive too. They both are. Trent plays he obviously down in Evansville. He's 3.5 hours away. He's not going to be playing up here for a fall league, but Harrelson's really good. Man, Booker's hit and miss in his games, and a lot of it's just motor and some of the things we've talked about before. But he's in it. Their teams. We've we've got some groups that are pretty loaded. I'm glad mine's one of them. We're competing, we're doing well. But yeah, Harrelson's the real deal, especially relative to this discussion on this radio show. He's the real deal.
That's the only thing that stinks about that is he's a freshman.
Yeah.
You gotta wait 4 years to, although it goes by quick, but it is amazing. I love seeing freshmen play at a high level because I'm like, oh man, that's exciting. That's because you're like, ooh, that's going to be exciting to watch over the next couple of years.
But here's the thing: there's as much coverage as high school basketball gets. You're going to hear a lot about this kid early, and the class of 2024 is not great, but 2025 is loaded. So you're going to hear some of those guys start to get some early mentions because they don't have a ton ahead of them. And, kids, I mean, obviously Sisley's at a smaller school. He's going to make an immediate impact. I mean, Harrelson's not going to go through the year and just dominate on the schedule. I mean, he's not like it's not going to be like Damon Bailey type situation or even a Deshaun Thomas type situation. It's going to be, but he's going to be a key contributor on a good 4A team that plays a rugged schedule. And I think he'll probably be their most dangerous player come March on a team that'll probably end up winning 16, 17 games this year. So that's good. I mean, that's Carmel sectional. So I'll have a good view of him all year. I'll probably see them play 4 or 5 times this year and have a pretty good seat come sectional time to see how he handles that pressure early on.
We were talking about Indiana's basketball recruiting earlier. It is going quite well right now with the new commitment from Ja'Kai Newton, a shooting guard from Georgia. And you add that to the other recruits that they have, and they're doing pretty good. Jalen Hood-Schifino, you got CJ Gunn, Caleb Banks, and so now you add Ja'Kai Newton to that, and they're waiting on a decision in 1 week from Noah Clowney. That would give them, a 5-man class that is perfectly positioned, position-wise. That does not happen very often. I was talking about it earlier, but I didn't even realize. I'm like, wait a minute, that would be 2 guards, a forward, a forward, and a center. That doesn't happen a lot. I'm sure it does sometimes, but it depends on the years that they're leaving, obviously. But wow, that's a workout team right there. You just throw another forward on there.
I think we're going to see more of that with the transfer portal being the way it is because they've got to prepare. And obviously, some colleges will save a spot for transfer, but there'll be a lot more movement than what there used to be. We've discussed that at length, but yeah, it's going to put for the schools that are still going to recruit high-end high school talent. I think you're going to see more of that stuff of a complete, like almost like a complete, like a 5-man roster, like a 5-man team coming in.
Well, it's hard for coaches, much harder because you generally know what you're losing, but then now the portal is a different animal. You think you might lose there. So now you've got to be prepared to go into the portal for that maybe, but then you have to recruit for what you know you're losing already. It's becoming a more difficult balancing act for some teams, but not once it gets going, you'll be fine. I think it's just tough at the start, like Mike Woodson, and they're not having a problem at all. They're recruiting quite well, but yeah, you don't know. A kid just decides he wants to leave, bam, and goes. You don't always plan for those, but they look to be in very, very good shape. If they can get Clowney, that would be just a hell of a class. That'd probably bump them up to a top 5 class without question. I would venture a wager or a guess. But
yeah, and I think it's going to be more like, obviously not to the same quantity, but it's going to be some of the same processes that football uses. They don't worry about duplication because you just don't worry. Like Alabama will bring in 3 quarterbacks and all of them insist they're going to be the next great thing. And
right. Well, you want that.
2 of them transfer. And so you almost do it. It's not quite shotgunning it where you just hope something sticks, but at the same time, it's you would think Crean would be comfortable recruiting in that type of environment. Well, you just go out and get guys and don't worry about it and see what.
Well, he lost this kid to Indiana because he's from the Atlanta area.
Georgia, yeah.
And that was one of his finalists, Georgia. So, but yeah, it's there are some coaches that, like Mike Woodson, obviously is recruiting players. He's still recruiting, Charlie. He's going out and doing recruiting, all that. Some guys are just using the transfer portal. Mike Davis loves the transfer portal.
Yeah, I've gotten that back channel too. That Mike Davis, they just plan on recruiting that primarily. Not that they won't,
right?
They can track some area high school kid, but I don't think they're
right.
a lot of time in high school.
Well, he said that he was on a show with us.
Did he say that there?
A few months
okay.
back.
He loves it.
But it makes sense because you can it's like going to the grocery store. You need a 6'10" power forward. Oh, that's down in aisle 10. I need a 6'6" guard. Oh, that's over in aisle 4. The portal is like a grocery store, man. You go pick what you want. And
I think that also
develop some.
Yeah, and I think that's driven by league play, mid-major. Because I'm not saying I know this to be the case, but someone like at a University of Detroit Mercy, you're probably going to have one opportunity to get a player who may not went somewhere, probably the situation didn't work out. You probably have more angles to create a positive environment for them versus a true 4-star, 5-star that Indiana might more than likely get out of high school, if that makes any sense.
Yeah,
absolutely.
It's an experience equation versus a talent equation. So
exactly.
The problem though that I see is some of the same problems you see with some of the schools that we're just focusing on the one and done kids. Is you do have to dumb down your system a little bit because you don't get to develop any nuance. You don't get to develop any advanced type actions. I mean, and it's not that these college kids aren't smart enough to handle some of these advanced concepts, but man, some of these guys haven't really been coached much. And God forbid you get a guy that has only played in like a dribble drive system or and has no clue what true off ball movement is. Right. And I know I say something like that out of a bias, out of a
understood.
But because there's a lot of those concepts in motion, but at the same time, there's a hell of a lot more nuance in motion, and it's or in some teams, obviously run a pretty consistent continuity offense, and or you go to a place like Butler, Ohio State, or any of those guys that have come through that coaching tree, where it's very set driven, and even if they do have a core that is somewhat easy to pick up, and and easy to add a little nuance to it, they still have entries and late clock situations and those types of things are things that, especially the late clock stuff, if teams differentiate what they do based on the clock, based on the shot clock, you're going to have situations where you're going to have guys that are coming in there for 1 year and a new kind of one and done, and they may not pick up on what you're really trying to do instinctively until February, and who knows, by then you may be too far down the road of having the kind of season you thought you'd have.
I know I want to share this, and this is just, again, just my knowing, and this is actually what happened. So you can look at this almost as a selling point too, to recruiting. And going back to Coach Davis, there was a player that transferred from another school. The player was averaging 5.5 points a game. This is an actual true story. And Coach Davis believes in player development. I've learned a great deal from him. He really believes in it. The kid ended up averaging 16.5 points over the course of that following season. That to me is a story that players want to hear if I'm transferring. Right? Hey, you're going from whatever led to you averaging 5 points, whatever led to you leaving one program for another. That's a big jump, right? And I said everyone's gonna have that experience, Jim Reamer, right? I know that, right? But I know. That's something that's tough to compete against because I know Coach Davis. At least I have a bias with Coach Davis and really understanding he focuses on player development and really helping players, get to that next level, whatever it might be for them.
Well, it's fit and system too. I mean,
True.
The NBA level, the two biggest oh my gosh stories were what Jermaine O'Neal did when he became a Pacer. Just instantly was better.
Right.
He wasn't instantly better. He just had a better opportunity and a system that was somewhat crafted for him. And the same way with Domantas Sabonis. I mean, you look at a situation where I mean, it wasn't like he's the player he was. He's obviously a lot better than he was when he came to Indiana.
That's right. That's right.
When he came to the Pacers, but he was instantly better because he was put in a situation where it facilitated his skill set.
That's right.
And it gave him a little bit more freedom than playing with Westbrook and how everything was basically just to create space. And he was not very good as a corner three guy. He was much better the top of the break and mid post or high post and being able to run some, mid range offense to him.
Speaking of break, we've got to take one and go. Don Fischer comes on Mondays. Jim, we got to start getting you on a few minutes earlier, then we didn't make the adjustment until we were halfway through, so we get out. But cool. Man, I can't thank Jim Reamer enough. Charlie Miller, as always, of course. Make sure you give them both a follow at. Is it JW Reamer? I can't read.
Yeah, that's JW Reamer on Twitter.
Yep, and that's Charlie Miller, of course, at Attack Ball. And please give me a follow as well at Jim Coyle ISB. We're back tomorrow, of course, to do it all again. Big thanks to Don Fischer as well, as he appears with us each Monday. And make sure you head out to the Coach's Show on Wednesday. And don't forget our good friends at Aurora Specialty Sleep Clinic. If you're having problems sleeping, give them a buzz. AuroraSleep.com. Thanks, guys. And most importantly, thanks to you all. Have a great, great Monday. And we'll be back tomorrow to do it again. Until then, I'm Jim Coyle. I will see you on the radio.
Thanks, guys.
Later, guys.
Appreciate it, fellas.